Hello YouTubers, welcome to Whole Pole Sunshine Coast Model Railway. It's Whole Pole speaking, and I'm just out here having a bit of a running session, and today I'm running a few locos that well, they haven't had a run for, either haven't had a run for a long time, or they're new to the railway. And first of all, coming up here is a two-tone green Helljan 47 weathered. She hasn't had a run for many years. And here she is on, well, let's call it the Bournemouth Bell, shall we? Because I seem to remember I've seen photographs of the Bournemouth Bell pulled by a Class 47, either just before the end of steam or after steam with the Bournemouth Bell. So there you go. So what else is going on? And coming round the corner here on the curves is one of the first locos that I bought for the layout over 20 years ago from a shop called Hobby Rama. It's a tender drive Hornby 2P440, and she runs beautifully, no problem. That's one thing we used to find with the tender drive locos by Hornby. They were either good or they were bad. There was no in between, was there? And following her there is one of those rows of Sheffield little overhead shunting locos which I bought. This is only the second time I've run her. One little, well, it's not little, quite a major fault is though, and I can't send it back, and she only runs the one direction. If I was to try and run her in reverse now, it just jams. I don't know what's going on there. But I'm simply not game to pull the top off. So at least she's going in one direction. Here she comes again on that freight. Now over here on the Laura Gardens branch, I picked up this Murphy Models diesel, Irish diesel, and I haven't shown it before. I have had her running, but it's an interesting model, isn't it? Doesn't fit in with my southern region / railway profile, but never mind, something interesting. Nice runner. I picked her up for $100. That's Australian dollars, about £50. And from a place called Brendale, where there was a clubhouse and a model railway sale they have about 2 or 3 times a year. Good value at $100. Coming on now, we've got one of those little Hornby Ruston and Hornsby little diesels. This little chap hasn't had a run for a long time. I've had her a few years now, I think. And I think they've just reissued them, haven't they? Comments down below as usual. There she goes. He, she. Amazing how this little fella goes across my Insel frog points with no problem whatsoever, despite the short wheelbase. Incredible, isn't it? There you go. And off he goes. They're coming into view very soon on a freight at the back of Angeltown East will be an old Barkman 45XX tank loco. Now I've had her for over 20 years. I think it's one of my first purchases off eBay. And you know what? I was going to get rid of her, and I thought, well, it's running perfectly. And GWR tanks are poorly represented on the layout now. So, and she's been weathered by somebody. Well, Runs very nicely. As I say, it must be at least 20 years old. One of my first purchases off eBay Australia. So coming round on the Laura Gardens branch is an old Barkman Royal parallel boiler Royal Scot 46165. Do you know, I was going to throw this loco out, or at least take it to the sale. It refused to move, but I took her apart, gave her a few squirts of WD-40 and cleaned the brushes, put them all back, and after a stuttering start she seems to be running very well again. So keep her in the fleet because it's an unusual loco for me. I don't run much LMS stuff anymore, or ex-LMS stuff, British Railways I should say. Yeah, here she comes again. She's in nice condition too. Running very smoothly now. There she goes. Around that sharp corner, sharp curve there. You can see the library there of books. Some of those I've sort of skimmed through now and sorted out a few. Once again I'm concentrating on the southern. Now what's this coming into sight? My goodness me, unbelievable. A Class 56 on my layout. What is the world coming to? I don't know why, but I've always had quite liked the Class 56s as diesels go. And this one in the EWS livery, I can't remember where I got it, but every now and again, well, this is a rarity on the layout, I can tell you. Now here's another class of loco, very rarely seen on the layout. I can't remember the last time I ran this particular loco, an L1 69772, Hornby of course. Nice looking loco, well produced by Hornby, runs fine, no problems at all. And of course I'm quite familiar with the class in real life because back in 1959-60 when I used to go to King's Cross Station as a lad, train spotting, these were quite common sight, of course. Not many in this pristine condition that we see this particular model in though. And looking there, very forlorn, is number 30382, which is a Drummond K10 from 00 Works. I think you've seen her running before, but she's looking for another job somewhere along the line. And here comes the Helljan 10800, which has just come out. She's just running in on a freight there. Supposedly weathered, but there doesn't seem to be much weathering apparent there. But anyway, not complaining about that. Just grateful to have it. Also running at the moment are two schools class. And I've only just noticed that the black one here, which of course is the one that was hauled the Queen to the Epsom Derby, I think, one year, and that's why she's done up with the white cab roof. There she goes, 30915. Now, just by coincidence, the other one I put on the track because it was a body drive Hornby Schools is also, yes, guess what? It's 30915. So, yeah, I couldn't believe it. But anyway, here she is in the green livery with the lake crest. And I do have some personal recollections of the school class because 9 times out of 10, when we went to Folkestone on holiday in the late 50s, middle 50s to the late 50s, because we had a semi-fast, it was almost always called by a schools class, where I was always looking to get a Battle of Britain or West Country bullet. Here's another class we haven't seen for some time. Bulleid's famous Q1 class, numbered in the Bulleid numbering system C21, with Southern on the tender. Well, it's the next day now, and I'm continuing filming with the theme of showing you locos that don't usually get a run out. And this is a Helgen Heineck. Haven't seen one of these on the layout since goodness knows when. But here she is on that Pullman train again, which incidentally includes some of those Hornby six-wheeler Pullmans. Beautiful. There she goes. Coming on next is this Barkman ROD 280 freight loco. Barkman, and she's weathered. Very rarely seen. But she's on that usual freight that goes round every day. Smooth runner. And I believe that I bought that new. I think they were on special. Not sure from who, could be Hattons. Now, over on the Laura Gardens line, we've got this Hornby tender drive Patriot parallel boiler. 45519. There she goes. Once again, very rarely seen. There she goes along over the back there. Once again, those Hornby tender drives are either good or bad. I've only kept the good ones, obviously. There she is again, just for your delight. There we go. On the Laura Gardens branch. Oh, sorry, I jigged the camera.